Hey, it's Steph. Thanks for watching today's video. I have an update for Pan Those Eyeshadows. This was created by Alexi, and I will have her link down below. But everyone who participates changes the rules according to their, goals and panning style. So I will get into my goals and the update. But first, if you're not subscribed, I hope you do so before you leave, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy eyeshadow videos. For my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, I am working on 5 eyeshadows at a time. 4 of them are randomly generated from my eyeshadow spreadsheet where I have all of my palettes listed out alphabetically, and I just generate on a random number generator. And then the 5th shadow, sometimes I will randomize it, but my rules are to hand select it because I just want to give myself a little bit of grace. Maybe pick a shadow that will round out the color story a little better, or a shadow that I think I can hit pan on quickly. It's just kind of like a little treat to myself, I guess. But the way I can roll out shadows is, of course, to hit pan. I would love to hit pan in all of my eyeshadows, but I also want to give love to all of my eyeshadows, so I do have a rule. If I don't hit pan by 15 uses, I do have the option to roll it out, or if an eyeshadow is in for 3 months, I can roll it out then as well, because I just want to keep it moving, and if it's been in for that long, I know I'm just not working on it, and I just want to give love to something else. So that is my quick explanation. Like I said, I've been working on 5 eyeshadows, and I'm going to go in the order of when they were rolled in, like how long they've been in. So I'm going to start with the eyeshadow that's been in here the longest, and that is from my Blend Bunny Sugar and Grunge palette. I have this really fun green in this project. It is called Ironic. And last update, I had used it 3 times. This is what it was looking like. And since last update, I have used it another 3 times. So I guess that is my little theme with this shadow, but this is what it's looking like after 6 total uses. These mattes don't show a lot of wear, but in person I can see a very, very shallow dip forming. It's very faint, so yeah. Since I have not hit any of my goals yet, this is staying in the project, and it will be included in my look at the end of this video. This is a very pastel neon green. I really can only figure out how to use this in my crease or in my inner corner. So hopefully I can think of a more creative way to use it in my look later, but it's a nice shade. The next shade comes from my Cosmic Beauty Winter Wonderland palette, and it is the shade Comfort. I used it 6 times last update, and this is what it was looking like. This is kind of a softer shade. It doesn't move around a lot, but I was really hoping to hit pan on it by this update, and I've used it 5 times, and I was able to hit pan, which is super exciting. So this is it here. Hopefully you can see that itty bitty pan. These are somewhat shallow. I mean, 11 uses got me pan, so I don't know how hard pressed the other shimmers or the mattes in this palette are, but this specific one only took me 11 uses, and it is rolling out. I will swatch it, of course. The shimmer paired really well with another shadow that I have in another project, so I used those together for those few of those looks, but this is it swatched out. It's more of a topper shade. It doesn't have a very pigmented base to it, but it's beautiful. The third shade is actually a single from Cleona. It is the shade Opulent, and this is what it was looking like last update when I rolled it in. I had a few uses on it prior, but not very many, and I was able to use it 2 times this last update, so this is what it's looking like. Probably not a ton of difference, but this is a really beautiful, more neutral shade, so I really need to remember to use this. I mainly used it as like a topper for a look, but this is what it looks like swatched out. It is a really beautiful shade. The next eyeshadow comes from my Profusion Harvest palette. This was kind of the wild card because it is a very warm toned red matte shade called Foliage. So this is what it was looking like when I rolled in. I had maybe 1-2 uses on it, but I was actually able to use it 4 times, which honestly is shocking to me because I am so afraid of warm tones, especially reds. Like, I had no idea how I was going to use this, but this is what it's looking like after those 4 uses. I think you can see a little bit of wear. I don't know if it's focusing. Why is it so dark? Hopefully, there we go. Hopefully you can see. That was weird. My camera was like freaking out. But it is staying in. This is what it looks like swatched out. Again, very warm, but I was able to use this as like a base under different eyeshadows, and I used it as a liner in one look, so I'm really proud of myself for thinking of different ways on how to use this shadow in my looks. And then the very last shade was my hand selected shade, and it comes out of my Urban Decay Naked 2 Basics palette. I rolled in the very first shade called Skimp. What is Frisk? Oh, that's the third shade. Okay, the shade I rolled in is Skimp, and I rolled this in because I knew it would be super easy to hit pan. I felt like I was really close because the dip on this was so big, and I had only used it 4 times and I did hit pan. So I'm glad I rolled this in, added a pan into my collection. It's this one right here. Here is that shade. You can't even see it, but I just used this all over my lid, and it was super easy to hit pan because I just used it in whatever look I wanted. I thought about continuing on with this palette as my like hand selected shade, moving on to this second shade called Stark, because I could use this as a lid setting shade, because I've seen a lot of people do like pan that palette in order where they just work on each shade at a time, and I thought about incorporating that style in this project as one of my shades, like have this palette all the time. But maybe I'll do that next year. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, because I also really wanted to add in a shade for Expand Those Pans. I've seen JJ Beauty do that in her Pan Those Eyeshadows projects, and she recently created a whole separate series for that. Of course, like Dora has that project. Who else? Alyssa has that, and I just love watching pans expand. The whole point of that project, but I am overwhelmed. Just to put it blankly, I am overwhelmed with all the eyeshadows that I'm panning, so I think I'll just stick with what I'm doing. This shade would be super hard to pan, so I'm not going to do that quite yet. So I will be randomizing a new shade and hand selecting a new shade, and hopefully the hand selected shade that I find, because I have no idea, hopefully the one I find will be super easy to hit pan on. maybe. It all depends on what shadow I randomize. So let me pull up my spreadsheet. I have eyeshadow inventory, and I'm pretty sure it's up to date, except for I did declutter an eyeshadow palette. I decluttered my Juvia's Place, the candy shop. That was a very big mistake ordering that palette, but I did find a new home for it, so I'm really happy. Let me pull up a random number generator. So I'm pretty sure that palette, I know that palette is still in my spreadsheet, but if I roll it, I'll just re-roll. So I currently have 739 powder eyeshadows. I don't include any of my liquid eyeshadows. So let's do 1 through 739. If I get something that's already in a project, I will just re-roll. But I got number 57. Oh, very low number. I'm going to scroll up. So number 57 comes from, oh, my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. It's the black. That's fine. I just use it as a liner. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I know some people don't like panning blacks, but I can just use it as a liner. Okay, I'll be back with that palette and my hand selected shade. Okay, I'm back, and I don't know what to say. So here is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette, the shade Noir. It's just basic black. And then my hand selected shade, as you can see, is this matte like lavender. And what my thinking is, maybe it will help cool down the red. I can combine them. And that comes from my ColourPop Lavish palette. It is the shade Escapism. So it's this shade right here. There's barely any use on it. I have used this for 5 looks in my last round of Throwback 30, but that doesn't mean that I used this shade 5 times. So I'm gonna guess I used it maybe like 3 or 4 times, because it's just a great matte that I could incorporate into like probably every look that I created with this palette, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So I'm going to zoom the camera in, attempt to make a look with this. I feel like this is not cohesive at all, and I haven't even thought of what I'm going to do. So let's zoom in. Usually I zoom in a little more, but I have a table in front of me, and this is literally as far zoomed in as I can get you today. So, oh my. Okay, I am going to try my theory of combining these two. So first I'm going to go in with the purple in my crease. So I did bring a bunch of random brushes with me. I do have a little bit of mascara on, and then of course like a full face of other makeup, but I don't have any eyeshadow on. So let me grab, I really need to clean my brushes, but I'm going to take this brush from, I think it's Profusion. It has little hearts in it, but it doesn't say any words, but it's just a nice fluffy brush. I kind of tried to get as much off of it as possible, but it's purple, so whatever. So I'm going to try to do this pretty lightly in my crease. I don't know what I'm doing, so I think I'm just going to do a really basic shape, just rounded, following my natural bone structure. Kind of bring it up a little bit. Beautiful. I love this shade. Purple is always good. Do you ever wonder about like when you tap off your brush, like that pigment is going on your floor? Of course you vacuum, but what if you walk in it and then you spread it around? Random thoughts with Steph. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there for now. I feel like there's bright, like a reflection coming onto my face. Sorry if that bugs you. And then I'm gonna go into the red from my Harvest palette. I have a brush specifically for this. I don't know if you can see, there's red on it already. But I'm just gonna take the tiniest amount of that and put it in my crease and kind of blend them together. I think I'll need to go back in with that purple, the brush I used for the purple shade, but I'm not getting any more product. I'm just gonna try to blend those together. I might need to grab some more purple, but we'll see. I never think to like combine shades like this to make a new shade, like to really actually mix them. I know a lot of panners do that. I know Dora does that a lot with her shadows that she's panning, like in her Pan That palette. If you don't know Dora, she's Fuchsia Soul, Dora Fuchsia Soul. I think I love her. She's so kind and sweet and beautiful and makes such beautiful panning content. I think that looks pretty good actually. So what am I going to do for the lid? I think, I'm actually going to put the green matte like in my inner corner. That's a little scary. And then I think I'll do the shimmer like in the middle of my lid. I don't know. So I'm taking the green, I'm really packing it on because I want it to be pigmented, you know. I really want it to show up. So I'm just gonna tap it and build up that pigment. Ooh, that's cool. Purple and green always look so good together, so really the only thing that could have ruined this is the red, but I think mixing it with that purple was a really good idea actually. I'm going to put this in my inner corner just because I don't want to put that shimmer, the only shimmer that I have in my inner corner, because it's a little dark. It's a little dark for my inner corner. Okay. So I'm going to take Opulent. I just have it in this magnetic palette. It's this one right here. Okay, this is the shade Gargoyle. Isn't that amazing? I have that in my Throwback 30, but not in this project. I'm talking about this one right here. So I'm just going to take it on my finger and tap it in the center. Can you see that? Well, it's getting everywhere, but that is a-okay with me. I do not care. I'm not super precise with my eyeshadow at all. That's pretty. I think I'm going to be super boring and just use the black as a liner. I know some of you struggle with doing eyeshadow liner, and I have shown that. I've shown how I do it in some videos and also on my Instagram, but I'm going to show you how I do it with a different brush. So I'm going to take this super teeny tiny brush from Sigma. It is the E06 winged liner brush, and I'm going to go into that black. And I like to tap off the excess on my hand. Just, no, that probably didn't focus, but I just have a little bit on my hand so I don't get a ton of fallout. And I just like to kind of follow my lower lash line, like the direction that it's going, and I'll just stamp it. So I'll try to get a little closer. It's kind of hard to see in the mirror as I'm doing this. I'll just stamp it. Take a little more product, tap it off on my hand again, and I don't like swiping quite yet when I have a ton of product on my brush, so I'm still just stamping it. And I'm going to do a super thin line across my lash line. I don't want this to be like really dramatic, and I'm just going to connect. Now I'm going to swipe. It's so hard to do this while talking. I know that I'm not explaining it very well, but hopefully you saw what I was doing. So I'm going to do it on the other side now, just following my lash line, my lower lash line, I should say. Getting more product. Doing a super, super thin line on my upper lash line. I'm not even bringing it like all the way in. I kind of stopped in the center of my lid, I guess. Oh gosh, I'm messing this side up. But eyeshadow is so much more forgiving than like a liquid eyeliner. So if you need practice, use an eyeshadow. Sorry if you did not see that. Oh my gosh. Oh, I can breathe now. I was holding my breath that whole time. Okay, I am gonna add, oh, I didn't even do my lower lash line. Okay, what should I do? Let's just take the purple. And I am gonna take, where did that brush go? Oh, I'm just gonna use the same brush, but I'm gonna pinch it. So I'm just gonna take some product, pinch it so it's a little thinner. Just add a little bit. I don't want it to go super crazy. Good enough for me. I am using my Essence Lash Princess mascara. I'm just gonna add a little bit more. And I'm gonna add some to my lower lash line as well. And that is the finished look. Let me zoom out and show you everything. Okay, what do you guys think? I actually love it. I feel like I always have to challenge myself in these videos to create a look with these, and I always love how it turns out. So it's just play with your eyeshadows, do some color combinations that you're not used to, and I hope this inspires you to do that. Again, this is my color story. Would you have guessed that I used this for this eye look? I wouldn't. I definitely would not. So yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, say hi, and if you're not subscribed, I hope you do so before you leave. So I see you all in my next video. Bye.